call the special meeting of the Wetzel County Board of Education to order. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Mrs. Nice. Mr. Bell will lead the invocation. Anyone not wishing to participate may remain seated. Flag is to your right, left.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this wonderful day. We thank you for the opportunity for our Payne City Schools to present to the Wetzel County Board of Education. And we ask you to give strength to the Board of Education as they consider our achievements and goals for this upcoming school year and make decisions that affect our community. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Next will be the annual report of the Local School Improvement Council of Payne City Elementary School.
Good evening, everyone. I know most of you, even in the crowd, but if you don't know me, my name is Tammy Chambers. I'm the principal at Payne City Elementary School, starting my 16th year. Yeah, I can't believe it. But I want to welcome the board members, Mrs. Wells, all of our guests and families. And first of all, I would like to identify our LSIC members. If you could stand up, that would be wonderful. If you're on our LSIC, we have a couple members, Mr. and Mrs. Musgrave. And we also have a couple staff members here. If you could stand up too, I would appreciate that. Thank you, Mrs. Underwood. Mrs. Walls is soon to be an official staff member, I think. And then Mrs. Allen is back there and Mrs. Musgrave. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Mr. West, wherever you went to, for hosting us here. Our local school improvement council met for the first time this year on September 8th. The biggest part of that discussion was about the progress of our construction, and Mr. Castellan already talked a little bit about that, but the gymnasium walls are up. If you haven't been down even in our circle, you will see the walls from the circle without even having to go out back. The elevator shaft is getting closer to being installed, and the new HVAC was delivered last week, and it's on the roof, not all completely hooked up yet, but the thermostats were installed this week and are so we're underway. They still say they're on schedule, which is wonderful, and we will have a new gymnasium by the end of June. So it's amazing how fast it's going up. So in your folder, if you'll take a look, on the left-hand side, I made a spot for the high school, but they did their own. I was trying to be helpful. So you will see our first LSIC meeting notes and some of the old business that we had. We had a virtual family night last year, the progress of the building, that's the HVAC. And then we talked a little bit about what's coming up. And mark your calendars for the first item. April 11th will be the academic awards ceremony for the whole county. And April 13th will also be the next one. Grades 9 through 12 will be April 11th. And then Thursday, April 13th will be grades 5 through 8. So we've already started with that. We have our PRO officer we're sharing. Mr. Castigar has joined us this year. You'll see the members of our LSIC. We already had a book fair and open house, which we had 140 participants come to our open house. And we have some other concerns or helpful information there for you. Our next page is the LSIC meeting dates for this school year. So feel free to join us at any of those dates. They're right after school, and they're usually in my office. So as you look through the other pages, I'll just talk a little bit about our 2021-22 goals. And Last year was no different than any other year. We always focused on academics. And I know you've listened to and read reports about our West Virginia general summative assessments, but I included a few simple graphs to show you where PCE stood in regards to the county and the state. So as you can see on the first graph, it's math, and our fourth graders blew it out of the water. They did a wonderful job, and we still have some work to do at the other grade levels. I've also included the English language arts. Again, our fourth graders were above the county level, a little bit below the state level. They were our highest scorers for the school year, for last school year. You can take a look at the trend results on the next page. We've kept those for several years, as you can see. And the yellow highlights are improvements from the previous year with different groups of kids. For example, if you look at 2021, third grade math, then you can look at 2022 and see fourth grade math and see the same students. So that particular group improved 42 to 62%. Next in the folder, you'll see our discipline data. We've kept that for years and years and years and years. Since before I actually started there, I have some of the data from there. We had an enrollment of 189 students last year. And this is, you can see the breakdown. We had 66 office referrals and 2 after-school detentions. Many of those office referrals are for students that we end up restraining because the behaviors are very challenging, and that's something that we would do at the very, very last resort. But when they're in a position that they're going to hurt themselves or hurt someone else, then we call in our CPI team that has been fully trained. So you can see the numbers of office referrals, the number of after-school detentions, and under the graph you'll see the breakup of what type of incident, where it happened, when it happened, what days of the week it actually happens. And on the next page is the breakdown of the actual incidents, and then notifications, and then the actions that say counseling, referrals, and conferences is our CPI team jumping in, and our guidance counselor assisting as well as the social worker. The next paper that you will see in your packet is a lesson plan documentation. This is something that I do each 9 weeks with all of the staff's lesson plans. One of the things I really like to look at, and this is part of our documentation that we share with Mrs. Wells and Mrs. Stanford at the end of the year, one of the things I really like to look at is the expectations of the students. And we look at those and look at Maslow's theory, and we look at what are we asking the kids to do? Are we asking them just to identify things really low level, or recall things? Are we asking them to analyze? Are we asking them to really pick things apart and try to really increase the rigor and the depth of knowledge of what we're asking from kids? The LSIC Annual Productive and Safe Schools Report, I think I have mine mixed up a little bit compared to yours, I'm sorry, is a summary of what we do if we have things that need to be, students that need to be suspended or excluded from the regular classroom because of discipline issues. And it also lists the different programs and the strategies that we use to try to prevent that. We have developed our PBIS staff handbook, and I gave you all of it this time. I know a couple years ago I just gave you a few pages, but this is our whole handbook. We go over this with our entire staff at the beginning of the school year, and our PBIS team has developed this, taken it to staff members within the last couple years, and then adjusted some things and take it back. So it's kind of a working document. We have adjusted when we needed to, but it lays out our PBIS program, Tier 1 and Tier 2. Our Tier 2 program is for those students that are struggling in one respect or another. We get referrals from the classroom teachers, from other staff members as well, and try to prevent things rather than be a little bit, we want to be a little more proactive with what we're doing. So that's kind of a quick review of some of the data that we have. And so now we're looking at that data, what are we going to do for this year? So our goals for this school year, of course, are academic achievement. We really would like to try to increase the growth of every student 1.5 grade levels. That doesn't seem like that much, and usually we do 1 grade level a year, but if we ever want to try to fix the COVID years, then we need to try to up the ante a little bit and get more in. So some of the actions that we are going to be using, we will use our iReady data. We've already done the benchmarks. We do flexible grouping with the students. If they have some issues with one concept, our math interventionist, which is Mrs. Allen, and our reading interventionist, Mrs. Slider, will pull those students to do small groups. They'll go into the classroom. So we use that iReady data to group the students and meet those weaknesses. We do quarterly walkthroughs. I do those, the lesson plan check that you saw. We do small groups in the classroom as well as pulling out of the classroom. And then we are fortunate enough to have SREB this year. Mrs. Frank is Judy is our person that comes to help us, and we sat down already and worked on goals. Each teacher is working on goals that they want to improve things in the classroom, looking at all of those test scores from last year in our iReady, and we're starting different strategies to make sure that we are implementing things that will help our students grow. The other goal that we have goes right along with family engagement, but it's a little bit deeper, that we are going to implement activities and support emotional and social wellness, and we will measure this by our walkthroughs, professional development opportunities, our PBIS program. We have several staff members that have gone to trauma-informed training, and that is so big. We have lots of students that have been, lots of families that have been through trauma. So this research says that their brain is different. And so it's hard for the more experienced people, I could say older, but more experienced people to understand. So we're trying to really dig into that so that we can understand how their brains work. So what are we doing to assist with these goals? Our PLCs are up and running, and we so much appreciate that time from the 7:30 to 8. When we were in our COVID years, our students went straight to the classroom rather than into one setting. Downstairs is where they are now. We can't wait to break that up and maybe use the gym next year. But now they're going downstairs, and we're able to meet for at least a good 20 minutes with our PLCs. And I know some mornings probably our staff's ready to kill me because we do it more than Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We also meet on Friday with principal agenda, so I can keep everybody updated. That was the thing about the days that were just once a month. By the time we were able to sit down and actually talk with each other and communicate, the news was all old news, and it was something that everybody needed in a more timely manner. So I love the PLCs. 20 minutes works, but we had a wonderful professional development last week. Everybody that went to something during the summer presented and shared their ideas, which is definitely what we want. When we send someone out, we want them to bring that information back to us. So we shared that information. So our professional development sessions are going very well. Our PLCs are going very well. We're sharing information. We have some writing samples that students turned in to me this week, and I always have 2 more classes, I think. I read the writing samples and make comments to the students, and then the teachers are gonna take those and talk to each other about them. What are our students missing? Are they spelling I by itself with a capital letter, or, that was not as important, but it does drive me crazy. Anyway, so those are some of the things we're doing. Our reading specialists and our math specialists are going to the classrooms, like I said, as well. We have a few teachers that are starting after-school tutoring for students. We are mixing APO and Kagan and making thinking visible strategies. Those kind of all go together anyway. Those are big conversations that we're having, and trial and error. Our SAT team has already had 1 round of meetings, and we started a 2nd round today. We're gonna go the next 3 days and try to help some of those students and work with families. We're utilizing the pacing guides either in the manuals or prepared by our coaches, and our writing scores really hurt our English language, so we have a writing rubric that this is what we expect at kindergarten, this is what we expect at the end of 1st grade, and all the way up through our 6th graders. And we're using the Step Up to Writing and Write traits for that. So those are academic things that we're trying. And our emotional social well-being, we're trying to bring more families in. I think we've already probably done more activities this year than we did in the last few years. We had our open house and Scholastic Book Fair at the same time, and we had 120, 140 families sign in for that. We've already had our first LSIC. We have monthly PTO meetings. We had a family fright night that Mrs. Allen put together the other night with reading and math activities, and we had 84 people sign in for that. Every Tuesday this month, we've had an online cyber safety session that students could sign up for. This is the last night, and it started at 6 o'clock, so I hope some of them are on it. But it was at 9 o'clock the first Tuesday of the month, and 8 o'clock, and that was a little late for our kiddos, but then 7 and 6 o'clock. So there were some coding things that the kids are really enjoying with Mrs. Musgrave's STEAM class, so hopefully they were able to get on there. Our guidance counselor does lessons in the classroom as well as individual. We have a wonderful social worker that comes and helps with the guidance counselor. They work very well together. Of course, we have our school nurse, and we had Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts coming, have already been to the school. WTRF came to record our students doing the Pledge of Allegiance, and so I think sometime, they said maybe October, but they're going to send things to me so that I can proof and make sure we're pleased with them before they air, so that it will air in the morning with our little ones doing Pledge of Allegiance. And coming up, we have our Halloween roar session on Friday. Instead of, our roar session is our PBIS award for positive behavior. So we're asking parents to come in, and they can wear their Halloween costumes if they want, and make it a celebration of positive behavior as well as Halloween. And we're going to do some fun games, and hopefully the parents will participate with us too. One of my favorites is the veterans lunch that we have. We haven't been able to do that. We did a drive-through last year, which just wasn't the same as them sitting down with us. But that will be November 10th. So, and then we'll have a program afterwards. November 17th, we're doing a math and reading night. We're hoping that we have a lot of families that grandparents are raising their kids. We know that they didn't learn the same way that, or didn't help their children learn the same way that their grandchildren are learning. So we're hoping that we can get a lot of our grandparents in to just make them feel a little more ease at what we're trying to do and help them understand how we teach these days. We do a lot of communication through phone calls and postcards, and send a weekly school messenger every Friday evening and let everyone know what's going on for the next week. Monthly newsletters. We have our website that I try to keep up, and a lot of the teachers use Dojo. Our student council is beginning. We have a robotics class after school. We are starting, Mrs. Underwood is starting an after-school book club. She passed out the book today. Some of our little, that was a fourth grader's idea. She wanted to start a book club, and so Mrs. Underwood said, yes, I'll do that. Breakfast with the Grinch is coming up. Our Santa's workshop is coming up. Band concert's coming up. So we have a lot of things that we want to bring families in and engage them. So I think that's about it. Do you have any questions for me?
The same question that we've asked everybody at the end of their presentation. Is there anything else besides what has been done for the school that the board or the school system can do to help at Payton City Elementary?
The time that we have, that's always something that everyone says, I know, is precious.
That's the standard answer,
It
which
is
is
precious.
really good.
It is precious, so keep supporting that. We appreciate that and allowing us to be able to further our knowledge and share with each other. That's the biggest thing. If we don't have even just that half an hour every morning, there's so much that we get accomplished with that half an hour just because we can have a conversation with each other without running down the hall and forgetting what we were doing before we get to the next room, or because it happens. It is just so busy during the day, you don't have time. And with our school being the size it is, we have a halftime music teacher, we have a halftime, we do halftime art, but we do STEAM in the morning. Our teachers don't have planning periods at the same time, so they still don't have a chance to talk to each other even during their planning time. So we want to make sure that we develop engaging experiences for our kids, and if we have time to communicate with each other, that definitely helps. So come and see what we're doing. You're welcome to come anytime. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Mr. West, Payton City High School. Mr. Bell.
All right. Good evening, board members, Superintendent Wells, Wayne County Administration. My name is Bill Bell, and I'm a history and government teacher here at Payton City High School. I serve as chair of our school's local school improvement council, as well as on Payton City Council and Development Authority. I want to start by introducing our LSIC membership. If you are here this evening, please stand so the board may recognize you. Mr. Larry West, our interim principal. Samantha Smith, Gary Cardelin, Jenna Laudermelt, Candy Stephen, Penny Baker, Brian Price, Rodney McWilliams, and Callie Son. Our school year has started off strong, as Mr. West will elaborate on in a minute. I feel as if our first 9 weeks has been a textbook example of the West Virginia standards for effective schools, particularly with a clear and focused mission and family and community partnerships. Our school climate has been overwhelmingly positive, and we look forward to seeing what we will continue to accomplish this year. Our most valuable asset at Payton City High School is our 168 students. These students are motivated, engaged, and willing to succeed in everything that they do. That said, I took a few minutes out of my class time this past week to conduct an informal survey to present to you tonight. I passed out sticky notes and asked them to answer a simple question. I asked if you were talking to a friend from another school, another county, another state, or in some cases another country, as we have exchange students, what would you be most proud of at Payton City High School? I was impressed that the students took the activity seriously, but I want to share with you some of the answers. They felt that traditions were important at Payton City High School, traditions that have been passed on since 1951 that are still alive today. Our band, which has won numerous awards over its time. A multitude of sports and opportunities to participate. If a student wants to participate, they're not going to be told no if they're eligible. Active and engaged alumni, and teachers who respect and care for their students and learning. On behalf of the students, faculty, staff, and parents, and other community members of Payton City High School, I want to thank you for your continued support. This time I'd like to introduce Interim Principal Larry West, who will give you more detailed information about our school and achievements.
Bill. Give those out, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. I'm Larry West. I'm the interim principal at Payton City High School. I've served many schools in Western County for many, many, many years. So those of you who know me, I've been around a long time. Payton City is a community school, so I thought I'd look up what community school meant. And it's stated it is a publicly funded school in the United States that serves as an educational institution, a center of community life, with a focus on academics, youth development, family support. The term applies where kids go to school closest to home. Payton City is unique in Wetzel County, and it is unique in West Virginia because it is a 712 school. We're the only 712 school in Wetzel, and I think there's only about 4 other 712 schools in the state of West Virginia. So what we're going to present is I want you to take a strong look at what you have as a Board of Education and what Wetzel County has at Payton City High School. As we go through this information in front of you, you will see a school that is engaged with faculty, staff, students, and community. So if you turn to the first page here, and it's already Mr. Bell mentioned, we have 168 students, 7 through 12. This not only serves students in Payton City, but Payton City High School serves students from Sistersville and New Martinsville in this school. He's already mentioned about the membership. Let's turn over to academics and student involvement. Midterm grades. Only 22% of the student body received a midterm report with a grade of a D or F. That's 37 students. That is low. That's because teachers stay with them and the students know what is expected of them. That's important. Mrs. Fitzman, who's serving as counselor, has met with credit recovery and those students that the grades were low. I also have met with seniors in credit recovery, and also I really have harassed students in the hall saying your work is not in. You're a senior. You want to graduate, you got to turn your work in. Some of them heard my voice, some did not quite understand yet. But it's a process you've got to communicate and let people know what's going on. Another thing that's not in your packet there, we finished 9 weeks of school. I only had 15 classroom referrals to the office. 15. Very low. Next page, tutoring. This information is sent home to parents. It is also on Facebook. It is posted throughout the school that tutoring is available for all students. And it says exactly what days it's available. There's teachers there. It doesn't have to be a student that's a DNF. Anyone may go. And I met with a parent today, and we discussed that about, and they thought that was great, to get their kid into that so their grade would improve. Next page. Payton City has an outstanding band. It's one of the best bands in the state, period. Now, they list some of the awards they've already won this year. We have a football game Friday night. If you haven't heard Payton City's band, come for the pregame, come and listen to halftime, and you will be astounded at how good they are compared to other bands that you will hear in the state of West Virginia. It's a fact. If you can't make that, Christmas concert is December 11th at 2:30 in the gym. It's worth your time to be there. The next page is updates for the week. Mrs. Sprague sends out to every student an email telling them what's going on this week, what activities are going on, what's expected of them. This is student-school communication. student-school communication. So there's no way, no one knows, they can't say we don't know what's going on. It's out there. All you have to do is read. The next page, they have an unbelievable spirit week down here. Mr. Pekarski, here's what they did the entire week where students were completely engaged in the activities. Yes, Payton City also has a homecoming parade. Some schools do not. The next page. Last year, Payton City was involved with the governance program, I Got Vaxxed. And I'm not going to read through those, but sometime take a look at what they utilized this money for, which the faculty and students decided what they wanted to do to promote their school and their programs. This is what faculty and students agreed on to help with the band, with sports, and other activities. On the next page, we have an unbelievable new program with a chef involved. Refreshments tonight come from those students and his program. They sell the cupcakes, the cookies, pepperoni rolls. I have a charge account there. That's what it comes down to, because I go and I made a mistake, only got one cupcake, had to share it with my wife. Didn't make that mistake again. They're terrific. They're doing a terrific job up there. You're in the next page, you're in the business education department, Mrs. Yoho. Unbelievable what they're doing. They're doing the shirts for the Grasshopper basketball in New Martinsville. They're providing, in that last paragraph, $2,500 worth of scholarships for graduating seniors. Those students, it's a hands-on, very active. I didn't ask anyone to do this. One of the students just put that up today because they knew we was coming. I didn't get in listed either the cardboard boats that Mr. Kennard does. I didn't have that listed in here, and I thought about that. Terrific program that he does. Mrs. Baker with the technology that she deals with in the school. Full-time job. She assists the staff with grades and helps all the time. Now let's take a look at student and community involvement. We've made a couple things here, but then there's more, is that we have, with families can come in, they had a movie night. The next thing they're going to have is a fall festival night, where parents can come in and do activities with their children and with other members of the community. Down there is also what Mrs. Price did with band family engagement. She also, I didn't get this in there either, puts out communications exactly to the parents, what's going on day by day, and by the weeks and the competition they're in. As a parent, this is very handy. Those of us that are parents like to know what's going on, and having it on paper and handed to us works a lot better than word of mouth at times, especially with your children. There's a page there showing you about the fall festival that's going to be, the movie night that they had, the food drive that they're doing in the community that some of the teachers are involved with. Teacher positive feedback to students and school climate. The Faculty Senate started at the beginning of the year and set standards, goals, and expectations of students for the coming year. I've been down here 9 weeks. They showed me those goals and what they wanted. And we have made the attempt to carry out the structure that they requested. Mrs. Yoho also sent out on the next page, how are you providing positive feedback in your classroom? And what is your perception of the current climate culture at Payton City High School this year? These pages have teachers' comments. And I'm only going to stress a few of them to you. One of the programs they also have, and it's not listed in front of you, is the positive behavior in schools, where I'm reading where their students' work is turned in, they have less than 2 lunch detentions, no suspensions, that they have an activity they can go to. This year they're going to take them to the movies in New Martinsville. They will get the refreshments. It's a large number of students that's going to get to go. A large number, because of what's going on. Turn to the next page, and I do want to read this one so that everyone can hear this one. This is from a lady that this is her first year teaching at Payne City High School. If you scan down, it's to middle of the page, and she states, "With this being my first year, I'm finding the climate and culture refreshing. I come from a school with little to no assistance from administration and mostly teachers who fend for themselves. The support from everyone, teachers and administration, has been very welcome. I like that we are all part of a team when it comes to holding students, the key words, accountable for their work and behavior, and they have support." Let's turn to the next page. On number 2, under what this gentleman wrote, he says he thought it was a good start to the school year. The students have been more engaged. The lessons being taught seem to have more motivation to excel in the classroom than the students do. And we have set a great tone to start the school year, and the students have responded in a positive way. Faculty set the goals and standards of what they wanted at Payne City High School, and it's being carried out. And then another page there, the person was, "I like our school has a positive climate this year. Students are held accountable academically and behavioral." Next page, please. Down at the bottom, there's a statement, the last paragraph, and the teacher stated, and I skipped over it, "Staff and students have adapted to the consistency and structure which has been implemented and enforced since day one." Since day one. And then I'm on to the next page. I know I'm moving fast, but you can please take time to look at this, because they took some time to put it together. And I'm coming down to number 2 under this lady, and she said, "Students like structure, routine, and seem to be doing well academically. The sports teams are working well together. The band is awesome. All in all, the student climate has a positive vibe." So what you have, and you can look at the needs that we have listed there. And so I'm going to sum it up. I know what I didn't mention. I'm going to go back. Just give me a second. One place I didn't have, I had it circled. Here it is. Under sports, I missed my page. Payne City has more fall sports than any school in Wetzel County. I don't think many people realize that. I realize it because I'm supposed to be doing coaching evaluations. You not only have 7-8, what you have here, you have 7-8 football and 7-8 volleyball, plus varsity football, varsity volleyball, cross country, golf. 2 girls qualified for the state in cross country, by the way. We're real proud of that. But the point I was going to make that I do have listed there, and I'm going to repeat this, 69% of our students are involved in band or sports this school year. Repeat that. 69%. That is unique. That you have that many students actively engaged in activities in your school that want to participate and have the opportunity to participate because you offer programs that they want. Now, in conclusion, this is what, it's very short. It is important to improve on what is working. At Payton City High School, you have a caring staff, an engaged student body, and a supportive community. Payton City School is unique. What can Wetzel County schools do to make it better? It is important to look and say, we have a good and engaged community school in Wetzel County. What can we do to support it, to make it better? Thank you for your time.
That concludes presentations of the LSIC for Payton City Elementary and Payton City High School. We'll entertain a motion for adjournment at this time. Been moved by Mrs. Nice to adjourn. Is there a second? Mr. Westcott seconds, as does Mrs. Bonner. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? You're adjourned.